Good evening, everyone. I'm Sherwin Andre L. Acero, and this is my PowerPoint presentation about XML namespaces. So, what is XML namespaces? XML namespaces are used for providing uniquely named elements and attributes in an XML document. They are defined in a WWC recommendation. An XML instance may contain element or attribute names from more than one XML vocabulary. If each vocabulary is given a namespace, the ambiguity between identically named elements or attributes can be resolved. A simple example would be to consider an XML instance that contained references to a customer and an ordered product. Both the customer element and the product element could have a child element named ID. References to the ID element would therefore be ambiguous. Placing them in different namespaces would remove the ambiguity. So there are 5 examples of XML namespaces. So this is the first example of XML namespaces. The XML schema. So what is XML schema? XML schema is commonly known as XML schema definition or XSD. It is used to describe and validate the structure and the content of XML data. XML schema defines the elements, attributes, and data types. It is similar to a database schema that describes the data in database. So this is the first example of XML namespaces. So as you can see, there is a legit code for XML schema. So let's go now to the second example of XML namespaces. So the second example of XML namespaces are SVG or scalable vector graphics. Not scalable but scalable vector graphics. So what is scalable vector graphics? Scalable vector graphics is an extensible markup language-based vector image format for two-dimensional graphics with support for an interactivity and animation. The SVG specification is an open standard developed by the World Wide Web Consortium since 1999. SVG images and their behaviors are defined in an XML text file. So, it is a file format that allows you to display vector image on your website. This means that you can scale an SVG image up and down as needed without losing any quality, making it a great choice for responsive web design. So this is the example of XML namespaces, scalable vector graphics. So let's go now to the third example. The third example of XML namespaces are RDF or Resource Description Framework. So what is Resource Description Framework? Resource Description Framework is a specification that defines how metadata or descriptive information should be formatted. The RDF model uses a subject-predicate-object format, which is a standardized way of describing something. So, what is RDF used for? RDF is a standard model for data interchange on the web. RDF has features that facilitate data merging even if the underlying schemas differ, and it is specifically supports the evolution of schemas over time without requiring all the data consumers to be changed. So we are done from the third example, and now let's go with the number 4 examples. SMIL 2.0 or Synchronized Multimedia Integration Language. So SMIL or Synchronized Multimedia Integration Language is an XML based language which facilitates the construction of multimedia applications for the internet and mobile devices. SMIL 2.0 Interactive Multimedia for Web and Mobile Devices gently introduces you to a web multimedia standards. So this is the use of SMIL 2.0. So this is the legit code of SMIL 2.0. So let's go now to the final examples of XML namespaces. The XForms. So what is XForms? XForms is an XML format used for collecting inputs from the web forms. The original XForms specification became an official recommendation on 14th of October 2003, while XForms 1.1, which introduced as a number of improvements, reached the same status on October 20, 2009. So these are the examples of XML namespaces. Thank you.